right? Rather than just kind of going where you're corralled in this society, to actually step out of it for a second, look at it, analyze it, deconstruct it, and say, here's how I'm going to impact it. Here's how I'm going to change the status quo, is one of the most empowering things that can happen for any human being, and especially for undocumented youth. Youth are usually told, you know, you got to do what you're told, and you're not an agent of change yet. Wait till you get your degree. Wait till you do this. Wait till you do that. Undocumented youth are told, you know, you got to stay in the shadows. You got to be quiet. You got to hide. So to have undocumented youth go against all of that and talk to their legislators and run rallies, shut down banks, tell their stories publicly is incredibly empowering. It subverts everything that they're taught that is disempowering and turns them into agents of change and makes them kind of vision a completely different world.
Because of the fact that the DREAM Act was not going to benefit 67%, that's where our name comes from. You know, 67% of those undocumented youth will not benefit from the DREAM Act based on the two, like, things that we have to do, like you either join the military or you go to college. And a lot of people, like undocumented youth, their parents don't have money to like send them to college, and they're not eligible for financial aid or any type of financial aid. So how are they able to do that? So then the next path is like going into the military. How is that going to be beneficial? Like again, because like when they sign the contract, it's not for like 4 years, right? Like it says in the DREAM Act, it's for completely 8 years, and I don't find that as fair.
Like if you sign up for 2 years and then they're like, oh, we're gonna give you like 4 years, like they could give you more than that. You can stay there for like as long as they want, because when you sign that contract, it's like you just signed your life to them, you know. And like to die is like to get your green card, and when you're dead, like what are you gonna do with your green card?
There's been prior research that has basically demonstrated that the majority of people who would actually benefit from the DREAM Act would have to benefit through military enlistment. And I think that discussion or that narrative is one that has yet to be really centralized in the discourse on undocumented immigration. What we can't ignore is that this piece of legislation is a militarized legislation, and we are in a time of war, and we can't ignore that relationship.
I think it shows like their reality, you know, like they like don't care. Like, they just want them to serve for, like, you know, their country. You know, they want us to serve, and it doesn't matter to them. Just like we're just we're nothing, right? We're like a piece of dust. Like, one day we're here, one day we're not. It doesn't matter to them. That's why they're so eager for us, like, to go into the military, you know? That's why that path was put into the DREAM Act.
We understand the value of taking care of our community. That's been with us since our ancestors, right? And we want to tap back into that because we think it's a beautiful ethos and it's a beautiful way for a community to become empowered and find a way out of marginalization and oppression. So I think community is a powerful, powerful thing, and that's one of the strongest things that the young folks get out of 67 Sueños. Rather than being a bunch of individuals, which makes them powerless, they are a group. They are a group that suddenly, you know, is on the front page of a newspaper, suddenly is leading workshops, suddenly is being heard, and they don't need to give their name, they don't need to show their identity, they can be safe, but have that collective power and that voice and find a place for themselves in the world. So, you know, there's small groups everywhere. You know, they're hard to find sometimes, but if you can find community, if you can, you know, find that other kid in the class who's undocumented, that other kid in the neighborhood who's undocumented, start to gather together, start to tell each other your stories, that starts to build a base for power and healing.